Welcome back to Bodybuilding Nation. Today we're breaking down several major developments following the Pittsburgh Pro, including Nick Walker's powerful statement, Hunter Labrada's surprising announcement, and some incredible guest posing comparisons. Nick Walker, I never left, the mutant's triumphant message. Let's begin with Nick Walker's first official announcement following the Pittsburgh Pro. Just 4 simple words that encapsulate one of bodybuilding's most inspiring recent storylines. Despite being trolled online for claiming he never left, and insisting this wasn't a comeback after missing 2 consecutive Olympias, Nick's performance validated his perspective. Looking at the circumstances behind his Olympia absences, the first was due to an unfortunate hamstring tear, just 2 weeks before the competition, something entirely beyond his control. The second absence, one could argue, was more a product of coaching decisions. One thing remains undeniable about the mutant. His work ethic is beyond reproach. You might critique his physique or not prefer his aesthetic, but no one can question his incredible discipline. Nick stands among the hardest working and most dedicated competitors in the sport today, which helps explain the overwhelming positive response he's received in the 24 hours following Pittsburgh. Nick isn't wasting any momentum, immediately confirming he'll compete at the New York Pro next weekend. The morning after Pittsburgh, he was already back doing cardio, ensuring he eliminates any water retention from his post-show meals. His statement to the bodybuilding world has been unmistakable. When we revisit Nick's claims from recent months about returning to the Olympia top 3 this year, they now seem entirely plausible. He's elevated his physique to unprecedented levels, surpassing even his most impressive previous versions. Whether the 2021 Arnold Classic or 2022 Olympia, where he placed 3rd, the comparison between his 2022 Olympia front double biceps and yesterday's version shows remarkable progress. Not only has he dramatically improved his quad development, but he's also refined his posing technique to create a more streamlined waistline appearance. His back lat spread, previously considered one of his weaker poses, now displays significantly improved width. A year ago, suggesting Nick would challenge Derek Lunsford in abdominal development would have seemed laughable. Yet he accomplished the seemingly impossible in Pittsburgh. Nick's coach Kyle Wilkes deserves substantial credit. This was their first show together, and they delivered a phenomenal package. One thing is certain, Nick Walker will make this year's Olympia considerably more interesting than anticipated. Hunter Labrada, taking 2025 off to reset and recover. In news from Sweden, Hunter Labrada made a significant announcement that many had anticipated, especially after his coach Brent Gilliams revealed Hunter would need to address shoulder issues this year. Hunter confirmed he'll undergo surgery and take the remainder of 2025 off from competition. In his own words, "I'm definitely planning on taking this year off from competing. I haven't had a break since 2016, and I need to recharge myself physically and mentally." This creates opportunities for competitors typically in the second call-out to potentially move into the top 6, as Hunter has finished 6th at the Olympia for 2 consecutive years. Signs of this decision were evident in Hunter's minimal physique updates since last year's Olympia. The few glimpses we've seen showed him looking significantly softer than his typical off-season condition. Hunter has been competing non-stop since earning his pro card, making this break well-deserved for recovery. If we're speculating about his eventual return, the Arnold Classic Ohio next year seems the most likely venue, as it's been on Hunter's wish list for years. His impressive showing at last year's Olympia established him as a legitimate top 6 contender, and he'll certainly be missed on this year's stage. However, Hunter firmly believes this break will enable him to return stronger than ever. Olympia champions guest posing Samson Dow meets Kon Pearson. While the Pittsburgh Pro competition dominated headlines, the guest posing featuring reigning Mr. Olympia, Samson Dow and 212 Olympia champion Kon Pearson provided fans with an intriguing comparison many have been curious about. With ongoing speculation about Keone potentially moving to the open division, this side-by-side appearance offered valuable perspective on the size differential between these champions. Though both are in their off-season, the contrast is immediately apparent. Keone likely weighs around 230 pounds here, while Samson easily exceeds 300 pounds despite not being at his peak season weight. This visual reinforces Keone's frequent comments about needing substantial time to properly grow into the open division. What makes Keone stand out, however, are his extraordinary proportions, perhaps among the finest in the entire IFBB Pro League. His lat development particularly impresses. When he opens up in the front double biceps, his width nearly doubles, creating arguably the most impressive V-taper in bodybuilding today. For proper context, this comparison isn't entirely equitable. Keone has been pushing hard in his off-season training for months, while Samson is in his final week of a complete detox phase, giving his body essential recovery time. Nevertheless, watching a 300-plus pound competitor execute a vacuum pose with such control remains astonishingly impressive. While fans are eager to see these two eventually share a competitive stage, Keone has indicated this transition remains at least 2 years away. His plan involves maximizing his potential in the 2-1-2 division before methodically transitioning to open competition. Classic Physique guest posing. Ramon Dino steals the show. The guest posing lineup originally featured Ramon Dino and Mike Sommerfeld, but became even more exciting with the additions of Terence Ruffin, Matt Greco, and Wesley Vissers. However, the most significant comparison remained between Mike and Ramon. Ramon has never looked this impressive during an off-season. Considering Mike recently competed and won the Arnold Classic, while Ramon has been in off-season mode since last year's Olympia, Ramon's condition is particularly remarkable. His improvements in posing and presentation are immediately noticeable. The quad development Ramon now displays, combined with refined foot placement, creates a substantially more pronounced V-taper than we saw last year. These enhancements remind us why Ramon placed second at the Olympia 2 consecutive years and seriously challenged Chris Bumstead at the 2023 Olympia. Mike appears somewhat softer by his standards, likely due to a necessary recovery period following a health concern that required a detox phase. This is entirely appropriate for an off-season appearance. His trademark thickness, especially in side poses, remains exceptional. Before Terence Ruffin's final package at Pittsburgh Pro, many considered him Mike's greatest threat this year. However, this guest posing comparison suggests Terence still lacks the size necessary to truly challenge Mike's supremacy. After this appearance, Ramon will likely recapture much of the hype that diminished over the past year. His physique suggests he's on a serious mission to improve, and those intense training sessions with newly crowned Pittsburgh champion Derek Lunsford are clearly yielding results. What are your thoughts on these developments? Is Nick Walker ready to challenge for the Olympia title? Will Hunter Labrada return stronger after his break? And who poses the greatest threat to Mike Sommerfeld in classic physique? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this update, please hit that like button and subscribe to Bodybuilding Nation for more coverage. Thanks for watching.